Um, I've realized that sometimes I do things just because I'm bored. And mostly the thing that I do when I'm bored is masturbate. And earlier today, I kind of stopped myself from masturbating because I knew I was about to do it because I'm bored. And I know that I talked about masturbation in previous episodes a couple different times and how I have periods of sporadic masturbation and sporadic excessive masturbation. And that has slowed down to an extent. I probably masturbate like maybe once a week, if that. But I think the times when I do it more than once a week, it's because I'm bored. Like, I'm literally doing it because I'm bored. And it's not that I don't have anything else to do, because I could be doing something else in those moments. Like, I'm literally masturbating to avoid dealing with whatever it is that I should be dealing with. And I've used sex in that way, especially when it comes to complicated emotions, because I don't understand complicated emotions. I don't like feeling or expressing the emotions that I have towards different situations, towards people. I much rather not deal with emotions. I much rather replace emotions with something that I do understand. I understand sex and I understand it very well. But that it's interesting because, of course, everybody has their like coping mechanisms, and that kind of, I don't, I've struggled with this a couple times. I've said like, oh, I don't think I'm a sex addict, or I don't think I have a problem or anything like that. And I genuinely do not think that I am that. However, I do think that my the way in which I avoid dealing with my emotions is what needs work. Because I can't just turn to the thing that I love, because I love sex. Y'all know I love sex. I can't just turn to it every time I don't want to deal with a difficult emotion. That's not healthy, like, because I'm never going to deal with the shit I need to deal with. And I read a quote earlier today that said, like, I don't even want to paraphrase it, so let me look it up real quick so that I don't butcher it. But it got me, like, that's kind of what got me thinking today. I'm finna pull it up right now. So the quote reads, "Trauma affects intimacy, but intimacy can't fix traumas." And that was posted by the Conversational Freak earlier today. And I'm like, shit. Why did I, like, it's not like that's something I didn't know. That's not like groundbreaking, or, I didn't have an epiphany per se. But the message was kind of received loud and clear. Now, that's not to say that, I'm finna say that, like, I'm definitely not finna tell y'all I'm about to be abstinent or anything like that, or like I'm about to be celibate or anything like that. Because I don't think I have enough sex for me to actually take it out of the equation. I'm pretty sure y'all think I have more sex than I actually have in real life, just because I'm always talking about it. But that's my job. Like, I'm a sex coach. I'm supposed to talk about sex. I'm a sex podcaster. I'm supposed to talk about sex. But I bring this up because a lot of the ways in which I assist you guys with dealing with your sexual journey is through working on myself and being honest with myself about where I am in my sexual journey, right? I don't ever want you guys to think that I am someone who thinks I am at some status that is above you guys. That's why I always talk about, like, what is the sex that you want to have, right? That's where you guys kind of lay the foundation, and you guys have like the measuring stick when it comes to the best sex of your lives, right? Now, the same thing with me. Like, my measuring stick is my measuring stick. I help people figure out and address the things within themselves so that they can, they can reach the best sex of their lives And I'm also using these exact same skills on myself so that I can continue to have the best sex of my life. But me having the best sex of my life does not mean that everything within my life is just like perfect just because I'm having amazing sex. My thing with me is that I've kind of mastered a lot of things when it comes to unlearning sexual bias and mindset shifting and all of those things, right? But I also, again, I don't want to taint or tarnish my relationship to sex because I'm relying on it in ways that I shouldn't be relying on it, if that makes sense to y'all. So I kind of want to talk about that. I know that, of course, for majority of my life, I've had a very unhealthy relationship with sex. So as I continue to find ways to unlearn limiting beliefs, embrace liberating beliefs, I have to always come back to that, how did I get here kind of space, right? And making sure that the choices that I'm making are not just me trying to go back to the unhealthy relationship or the unhealthy things that I was experiencing as a result of, just my unhealthy attachment and my limiting beliefs around sex, right? So yeah. Today, like I said, I kind of like stopped myself from masturbating just because I was bored. That's not healthy. Like, masturbating because you're bored, like, I don't know. Like, I guess nobody technically stops what they're doing to go masturbate. Like, you wouldn't be in like a moment of excitement or in the middle of doing something. Well, actually, I've done that. Like, I've been in the middle of doing something and I'm like, yeah, I'm finna stop doing this and go masturbate. But also I think I have undiagnosed ADHD and it's just certain shit that I don't be wanting to deal with, period. So that's another layer. But I know, at least with me, I like to take breaks from masturbation only because I do use toys. I prefer to use toys. And sometimes and I've mentioned this on the show before, just the law of diminishing return, where it's like, okay, the more you kind of do something, like if you do it excessively over and over the exact same way, it gets boring. So that's how you got to kind of switch things up, spice things up or whatever. And you guys can take that and apply it to however you want when it comes to your sex lives. But that's really what it comes down to. The more you do something, it's just not going to feel like that very first time. Like it's like you always chasing that very first time you did something, or the very first time you experienced something that way. And sometimes you don't really get that. Like, you could get something close to it, but that first time you experience it, it just still feel like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it be that. And I think also that's why I'm always trying to do something different sexually. Now, when it comes to masturbation, it gets tricky because it's like, okay, how do I keep doing these things to myself, right? But that's also why I like try to switch up toys. The good thing is that I got a lot of different toys, but I don't like those other different toys. And that's what gets tricky too, because as much as I be wanting to like throw different things into rotation, I like what I like. So it's like a constant struggle between like that fixed sign energy and me just, no, this is what I like. I know what I like. But then also like, oh, but you don't want to get bored with that one thing that you like, so do it differently. So that gets tricky. And I know in one of the last episodes I said like, oh, like out of my top 3 things to do, 2 of them involve sex. And now I'm like, damn, I don't want 2 out of those 3 things to involve sex no more. Like, I gotta find some other hobbies besides sex. Sex should not be my hobby. And I don't think it's my hobby. I do think it's my superpower. So it's definitely not a hobby. It's not a hobby. I definitely take it more serious than that. But I just been kind of like alone with my thoughts a lot. Um, Especially lately. I don't know why that is. Um, I've also been like time blocking my entire life. So because I time block, I don't have a lot of verbal conversations with people. If that makes sense. So the way in which I would just like accept random calls for people, or I would call people at random times, I don't do that anymore at all. Like my best friend, she knows that I will only talk to her at a certain time of the day. My mom, like everybody in my life knows that I've been time blocking. And because I've been time blocking and my phone stays on do not disturb like literally all day, I be alone with my thoughts a lot. And I guess that's a good thing. I guess that's a good thing. And that's not to say that I wasn't always alone with my thoughts in the past, but I think now I'm paying attention to it more, and I'm paying attention to me more. I'm sitting with myself more lately. And I can say that with conviction that I've definitely been sitting with myself a little more. And I think that's important. Like, regardless of where you are in your sexual journey, like, I think it's super important to, take those moments and reflect on, just everyday life, like random, everyday, mundane life, and how you're kind of navigating through it. Because all of, like, everything that doesn't really have anything to do with your, like, sexual journey can impact your sexual journey, right? So everything down to the types of foods that you eat, like how much stress you're under as a person, like all of those different things literally have an impact on your sex life. I don't think I talked about this before on the show, but there are like 4 different types of pleasure, right? You have emotional pleasure, you have sexual pleasure, you have mental pleasure, and then you have spiritual pleasure. And I've said this, I know that I've said this before, that I view sex as like a spiritual thing, like almost like a religion, like a philosophy. Is very much interdisciplinary in that way, because you can pull in so many different disciplines, right? Like you could bring in philosophy and the philosophy of sex. You could bring in religion and spirituality and why people do the things that they do. Not in a limiting way, but in a liberating way, right? When we think about like Eastern spirituality and religions and the importance of the different exchanges of energies and chakras and tantra, and how that all feeds into sex as we know it, right? I think because there are so many different disciplines that you can bring into sex, that's also why it kind of makes it easy for people to misunderstand or spread misinformation about it as well. And that's troubling, that's problematic, but that's why, sex educators are out there, and we try to do our job the best way we can. And not all sex educators are the same. Like, pretty much you need to find someone that kind of aligns with your worldview, similar to when you pick out a church, right? You find a preacher that kind of like, this is the person you want to follow. This is the person that you want to align yourself to, right? It's the same thing with this particular field. I was watching a video earlier today, and they were talking about like, there was this woman that said like, oh, they're teaching 5th graders about sex, and she showed a video. Now, I don't know about the validity or the accuracy or even the truth behind if that was the actual video that was played. So I won't speak on that, but a lot of the comments were just opposed to the sexual education of kids. They were like, oh, 5th grade is too young. You could teach it in high school. However, what we know to be true, especially in a lot of urban areas, is that people are having sex way before they get to high school. Like, that's the reality of the world that we live in. This is not a new phenomenon. There's nothing new about this. Like, I want to say my grandma had my my grandma on my daddy's side had my daddy when she was 16. Like, obviously she was having sex. And my daddy was her second child, and she had him when she was 16. So this isn't new. Like, this is like, it's crazy because like we go through life and then we experience these things. And I'm not saying that we should like kind of excuse it or, you know, normalize it or anything like that, because what we experienced was, you know, what we experienced. Like, it kind of just was what it was. But we're not going to sit here and act like sexual education shouldn't be taught to kids. Everything should be age appropriate. A lot of us never got the sex talk. A lot of us never got the sex talk that we actually needed to be safe and healthy sexual beings. We never received it. And then we just expect kids that are our children, it's our job to guide them. We just expect them to listen to us, and when we say don't do it, right? Which is very unrealistic. And I think there's, again, this bigger issue and bigger question of us needing to talk about sex more and more, at all levels, whether it be making sure we're talking to kids in a healthy way, talking to our partners and communicating our needs and wants and desires that way. A lot of us have huge communication issues, like a lot. They're deeply rooted to the point where we are not advocating for ourselves. We're not advocating for our sexual health. We're not advocating for our sexual pleasure. We're expecting people to read our minds. It's a lot of fucked up shit that's going on, like at the communication level, at the education level. It's super crazy that instead of us just saying like, oh, okay, well, if this is problematic, how would I change? What can I do, right? What can I as a person do that is going to make a difference, right? It could be something as simple as being more comfortable with yourself to have these types of conversations, because a lot of people, again, are not comfortable having sexual conversations. So if you as an adult are not comfortable having these conversations, you can't possibly be comfortable having these conversations with teenagers, adolescents, children, right? But we know it's important. So that's just something else that kind of was like top of head for me, because as I continue to figure out how I want to navigate this space, navigate being a sex coach, a sex worker, someone that assists other people with their needs, I have to know about all of the different things that's going on in the world as it relates to sex, all the different perspectives, the different options for, you know, like helping people kind of navigate and get through things, understanding different insecurities when it comes to sex, right? Some of you guys that are listening take classes with me. I do virtual and I do in-person classes. And even some of the things that I hear, even from like my one-on-one private coaching clients, some of the things that I hear, I've been there. Like, even if I haven't been in your exact shoes, I've experienced something similar. And what I will say is that, again, as I continue to work on myself and heal myself, I'm able to draw on my personal experiences and also bring in the education aspect of it in order to help different people. And honestly, I think that's why y'all listen to me, because there's something in what I'm saying that you relate to, that resonates with you, even if it just means that you're living vicariously through me, because you don't want to do the off the wall wild shit that I'm doing, but you're entertained by it. So I don't know. I'm definitely in a place where, like I said, I've just been reflecting more on who I am as a person, how that impacts my sexuality, how And I will say this. It's not like I'm not having good sex. Like my sex life is not bad at all. Like it's good. It's great. But also there's always room for improvement. There's always room for improvement. There's always something that again, as I reflect, I'm like, oh, you know what? Like, even though when I do have sex, it's really great. There's something here that I want to experience that I'm not experiencing. So that's where it's on me to, and I always tell y'all got to advocate for yourself. Y'all got to take y'all sexuality you have to control it yourself. You have to take that, into your own hands and be in control of your pleasure. But it's some shit out here that I want to do and I haven't done it. And I have to figure out a way to kind of plan for it. It gets so like even interesting for me when, again, the same things I'm advocating for y'all to do in terms of like pleasure planning, and setting goals and all these things. I have to do that with myself. I really have to do that with myself. I really treat sex like a business. Because for me, it is like, it's my job. Like, it's my job to be good at sex. Literally, y'all wouldn't listen to me if y'all thought I was out here having bad sex. I know that for sure. Like, y'all wouldn't listen to me. Like, that would be boring. But I don't know. I feel like I'm just in kind of like this limbo, this kind of like in between space. Of what I want, and I think about it a lot, and I feel like there's something there, and that's why I think like, all right, cool, because I feel this kind of gap, this like, I feel like something is missing. I try to fill that gap with unnecessary masturbation out of boredom. Not I'm trying to fill in a gap with masturbation. I think that's what I just realized. I just realized on this episode. I think I'm really trying to fill in gaps of my life with like masturbation. I don't like that for me. That's insane. But at the exact same time, and I've told y'all this before, women can experience up to 14 types of orgasms, and I feel like I need to experience them all. So on the flip side, I damn near have, like, it's my obligation to masturbate at this point in my life. Like, I'm obligated. I owe myself to masturbate more or to have different types of sexual experiences, whether they be masturbation or not. Like, I want to experience these different types of orgasms. So I've been studying. Y'all know I'm always studying sex anyways. I've been studying different things so that I can get to a point where even if it's not something that I can perform on myself, I could teach somebody how to perform certain sexual activities on me so that I can experience a different type of orgasm. Because I've experienced a vaginal orgasm. I've experienced a clitoral orgasm. I gave myself an anal orgasm, so I know how that feels. And I also have experienced a blended orgasm where I'm having, the source of the orgasm is coming from different places. So if I've experienced 4 out of 14 types of orgasms, that means that I got some other shit to do so that I can reach those heights. I want to experience an energy orgasm really bad. And I know that is going to, I probably cry if I experience that because it is supposed to be an outer body experience. Literally an outer body experience. I also want to experience a full body orgasm where it's just like my whole body, right? The source of the orgasm is across my whole body. But I know that those two are going to require a lot of like work to get there. I'm probably going to have to be high off shrooms. I'm probably going to like, I know what gets me there. I'm not even going to tell y'all. I know what gets me there. But it's gonna have to be a whole production, literally. Like, the lights are gonna have to be right. I'm gonna need some candles. I'm gonna need like oils and music, and like everything has to be right. Like, all of my senses are gonna have to be engaged in that moment for me to experience the type of orgasm that I want to experience. The types, plural, because clearly it's 10 out of 14 that I've never experienced. I'm super curious about the nipple orgasm, not because I am like, oh, I've said this before. I didn't like nipple stimulation until I got my nipples pierced, and they're not pierced no more. And I've actually been thinking about getting them pierced again, just because I miss liking the nipple stimulation. They are still more sensitive now than they were in the past, just because they were previously pierced. But that shit hurt like hell. Oh my God, getting nipple piercings hurt like hell. But it looks so cute, and I have really nice titties, so it looks really cute on me as well. But I don't know. I might randomly like just go get them pierced. But I wanna experience that. I wanna experience a nipple orgasm. Like, I'm gonna have to do some research and figure out like the best ways to experience that, because that's something that I do want to experience. Not because I'm like, again, oh my God, my nipples. I just want to be like, check. I want to be like, I've experienced that. Okay. Now, if I like it or love it, great, amazing. But I still, again, it's a list of things that I'm setting out to kind of like achieve from a sexual perspective, because that's just what I want to experience. I think I'm gonna wrap it up there, y'all. This is gonna be a short one. Only because, like I said, I'm just giving you guys kind of like my intrusive thoughts in terms of every day, what I think about or randomly think about. And that's what's been on my mind recently in terms of who I am as a sexual being. Am I doing certain things because I'm bored? I will say that, I will say this, and I'm glad that I have gotten to this point, because when I was in a different space mentally, I was having sex with people because I was bored. I don't have sex with people because I'm bored anymore. Like, if I want to have sex, I genuinely want to have sex, and I'm having sex with the person that I'm having sex with. I only masturbate when I'm bored now. But there was a time where I didn't masturbate at all, and I was having sex with people just because I was bored. Like, it was definitely like, I can point out a handful of people that I only had sex with because I was bored. And I don't like that for me. I don't ever want to be in a space of that, because I feel like that gets into like, well, what are you avoiding? Why do you feel that you have to have sex with this person? It gets into some whole other shit or whatever. So let me pat myself on the back, and not even pat myself on the back because it's like, oh, look, okay, Jody, you're not being a hoe right now. But I will say that it feels like growth. It feels like growth when I can really say that I've taken ownership of the way in which I sexually express. And I know that my sexual expression is not a result of pure boredom. So yeah, that's all I got for y'all right now. Make sure y'all rating and reviewing the show. I'm happy to announce that I will be on tour with the Heart of South show. I know I've been teasing it out the last couple of weeks, but I can officially make the announcement. We have the Philly show coming up on my birthday. We are doing a show in Philly on my birthday, November 21st. Then we are doing a show in New York on November 24th. And then we'll be in DC in December. And we have more shows to come. So super excited about that. Myself and Terry Roseland will be opening for the Heart of South show in all of those cities. So make sure, if you guys want to see us live in action, please come out. It's gonna be fun. Honestly, that's where all of my energy and time has been going to, like, in terms of like making sure that I put on the best possible show for you guys. So yeah, super excited about that. Of course, if you guys need a sex coach, you can hit me up for one-on-one privates. And I'm always doing classes. So that's all I got for y'all. I'll see y'all next time. Bye.